Hey folks, ooh, let me get some light over here. That works. How are we doing? Ooh, is this my throat today? All right, folks, we're going to talk about how to get clients online. We have a question in the community from Lawrence, and we're going to answer Lawrence's question. So I have my notes down here in case you're wondering what I'm looking at. So Lawrence says he has an online tuition service in which he's generating income, and he wants his questions answered based on client acquisition. So he says, typically when students come, they stay for a long time. I don't have a he says he feels like his marketing or his client acquisition is a bit patchy. He doesn't feel like he has control of it and don't have a process he can successfully repeat to generate clients online. So this is going to be helpful to all of my folks who have businesses and want to learn how to generate clients online. He said that he's done some AdWords, magazine advertisement, blog content, Google reviews, trusted pilot reviews, and registering on tuition websites. And so apparently if hey there folks, Lawrence, if you happen to join us live today on the recording, send an email back to me in the areas where I'm a bit unclear so I can help you just a little bit further. Yeah, so that's the first part of his question. So let's address that first. So initially, Lawrence said that he had tried AdWords, magazine advertisement. So let's start with AdWords. When you are doing any type of, hey there, if you're doing any type of online marketing and you're paying for it, in his case, he said AdWords, usually when people aren't getting customers online, it's for two reasons. Either you don't have the traffic or you're not converting. So let's talk about each one of those issues a little bit more. So if you don't have the traffic, you can pay for it. Or you can create the content that will attract people to your website. Now, full disclosure, if you're going the organic route, it is going to take a little bit longer. It doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. Even if you are going to pay for ads, you still need to create organic content, which is the content that people in your industry would be searching for because you don't want to keep paying for ads. If you're just starting off and you're trying to make money quickly and you have a budget, you can definitely look into purchasing ads. But here's the issue. All the ad is going to do is bring people to your website. If your marketing message or your website is cumbersome or it's confusing, you just spent money to get no conversions. Okay, so there's the issue of getting enough ads. And I don't know how long you did ads, what your ad copy was or any of that. But if you're not bringing enough traffic to your site that a 2% conversion does not affect a substantial growth in your business, then that means the amount of traffic to coming to your website is not enough. I don't know what your budget was for AdWords, but if you didn't get, if you got enough traffic that you're telling me of that traffic, 2% conversion on that traffic that came would have resulted in a good amount of clients, then that means I'm going to assume that your website had the issue. So that issue could have been your marketing message was super confusing. It wasn't clear as to why a customer should work with you, or you didn't have a way to continue to engage with people once they came to your website. So again, guys, remember when you're online, people don't just go working with strangers. Okay. So you have to develop some type of relationship with them. And if they come on your website and they immediately are not interested or leave, how are you going to be able to get back to them? It's going to be super, super hard to capture them again. That is why when we talk about you're going to create the content and you're going to give them something for free that has very valuable information. Prime example, if this content is good or you're interested in asking me questions, you're going to download the digital Nomad toolkit, which is in the description box of this video. Anywho, you need to give them some free content that is going to be valuable based on the industry in which you're in. So you said you have a tuition business. I guess it's online education. Based on what you're teaching, what are some of the top 10 problems that those type of students are struggling with? And of course, if they're coming to you and you're solving that problem, they're going to want to know that you're able to do that. So when you give that free content, now you're able to market to them continuously. Many of you that have been sending me emails are a result of you giving me your email address so I can continue to talk to you. This is the exact same thing I want you to do in your business based on the industry. So the conversion, for all of you folks to understand your conversion, when you install Google Analytics onto the back end of your website, for those of you who are using your Wix and your Squarespace, there should be an option to install Google Analytics. Google Analytics is at the bare base level, you need to know how people are coming to your website, how many people are coming to your website, what keywords they're using to find you, what pages they were at prior to finding you, how long they stayed on your website, and more importantly, your bounce rate. Okay, so when you look at your Google Analytics, you're going to look for something called your bounce rate, and that's BOUNCE. So you're so easily distracted. You're going to look for your bounce rate. What the bounce rate is going to explain to you is how long somebody came on your website and they immediately left. If someone came on your website and immediately left, let's say you have a super high bounce rate. That means people are coming to your website and they're not getting what they want and they immediately leave. Google doesn't really like high bounce rates. And of course, there's a bunch of other algorithms and data points that go into that. But you don't want a high bounce rate. You particularly don't want a high bounce rate if you are paying for ads. Let's say you're paying for ads and there's more people coming to your website, but based on the ads that you created, hopefully you made it super specific so that you were targeting the right audience. If you were targeting the right audience and your bounce rate is high in the time frame in which you did your Google ads, that means the issue is with your website and it's not with the traffic, depending on if your ad was done correctly. Okay, so that means there may be some chaos on your website, or your website is not converting well for a variety of reasons. And I'm not sure because you didn't give me your web address, so I can't go over that with you. But that is what you're going to assume. Folks, you have to install Google Analytics in the back end of your website just so you can get the data. If you're going to do anything online, the data is going to be the most important metric you look at. And if you're never looking at it, it's going to be super hard for you to decide what content works well. Like, you can have certain content on your blog or your website that's doing extremely well and some that isn't doing as well. But if you never look at the data, you're not going to be able to find that out. So as much as let's say this particular article or video or whatever brought 30 organic people to your website, then that means it might make more sense to create content that's similar to that. But you got to figure out how they coming to you. So that is what I would first ask in regards to that question. And conversion, we talked about that. Sorry, guys, I'm looking at my notes. I would want to spend some time understanding what your marketing message is. So guys, regardless of your industry, I want you to think about what are the problems that people are having in your industry that will cause them to look for someone like you. Just industry specific. And again, we talked about this yesterday, industry specific. And then why should they work with you specifically? That information should be on your website. It should be very clear of what differentiates you from your competitors so they can decide if they want to work with you. But more importantly, there's two ways for you to stay in contact with someone who's visited your site. The first way is provide some form of valuable information that you can give in exchange for their email, for them agreeing to say that you can continue to market and communicate with them. One way. The second way is you're going to create am I going to get too technical? I'm going to say it, and if it got too technical, just let me know, and then I'll stop. So you can create, how do I say this? Okay. So remember when we had in the beginning part of the series where I was talking about like having full access to all the data in the back end of the website, and that's why I would choose a WordPress versus, some of the other options, is because the data is super important to me because that's kind of what I do for a living. It's still going to be important to you as well. So you can create an audience by having a series of code that isn't, okay, that's easy. Yeah. A series of code that is installed in the back of your website that is basically a cookie. If you're going on any website lately, they're asking you to agree to cookies. Like, they're like, look, we use cookies. Are you okay with that? It's basically what it is. And you need that on your website if you're going to do online marketing or have an online business, in my opinion. So when you install that cookie on the back end of your website, you're now able to create a variety of different audiences. You can create an audience of people who visited your website within a certain time frame. Let's say they visit your website within 30 days and you want to show up all across the internet in the other web pages that they go to. You want them to see you. So sometimes you've probably been perusing the internet and it seems like this particular ad is following you. That is because you were cookied based on a website that you went to. So you can do this with your customers as well, so that it can be a reminder that, oh, I looked at this and I was interested. Because again, you got to remember that there's so much going on in the world that is competing for your potential customers' attention, that they may just forgot. They may have been interested. They may just forgot or whatever. So being able to either A, get their email address so you can continue to market to them, or create an audience that will automatically, if you pay for it, that will automatically kind of follow your customers in the least creepiest way possible. Y'all know the people on the internet following y'all. That's not news to you. That's kind of what it is. But yeah, as a small business, it's important to employ this type of marketing in your own business, because large corporations are doing this. And Google, Facebook, a variety of different online platforms allow small businesses to do that at a fraction of the cost of anything. So you also said that you used magazines. Let me go back to your email. Sorry, guys. Hold on. Here's the thing. I'm probably never going to recommend anyone do magazine advertisements. Let me tell you why. So it's important to understand how marketing worked, I guess, say 20 years ago, before the internet was a big thing. So before, companies paid for TV, radio, newspaper, magazine, and they really didn't get any analytical information. People would sell it to you based on saying, okay, you have access to this millions of audience. But as far as understanding what your conversion was, it was virtually impossible. So then here comes digital marketing, where you can measure things down to the T. You can measure who clicked the button, what part of the website they stayed on more than others. It's so much analytical information you can measure on your marketing right now, that the conversion is higher. Because even if you're in a magazine, I guess if you use a certain link, you can kind of assume how many people click the link based on if you made a specific link for that magazine article. But the conversion rate online is going to be substantially better, in my opinion, of course, than anything you do in print. That's just kind of what it is. So any magazine articles, whatever ads you employed, I'm really curious to understand what your numbers were, or if you looked at your numbers when you did these various things. So here's some of the things that is an issue when individuals want to pay for ads. They may not pay enough to get data. So like I said, if you're saying that the average marketing conversion is about 2% on the average end. So if you only got 10 people to your website, 2% is not going to do much. So you see how you have to have a larger, in any research, the larger your pool of specimen is, that gives you a better idea of the data that you're getting from it. So my question to you is like, how many people did the Google AdWords get to your website in addition to the magazine? You said blog content, and we talked about this before. You got a lot of websites out here. So if your content, full disclosure, if your content is out here probably not giving only like 100 to 500 words, you are not going to get indexed well in Google. You're just not. If you can concentrate on about 1,500, really in a perfect world, 2,500 words in your content. Now, you're not going to make it super just stuffing words in it just to get a word count, but you're going to make a very comprehensive guide to whatever insert industry here, your industry here. Make a very comprehensive guide that can be 2,500 words. That way, if you put the keywords and the metadata correctly, your content will show up. Now, granted, that doesn't happen overnight. And depending on the competition of the content you're giving, it may take a little bit. I hope I'm not losing y'all on that. I feel like I'm rambling. Google reviews, that's may not be as important right now. And then registering with tuition websites. I would need to know more information about that. So I don't know what your service is. Let me bring something up really quickly. Okay, so you told me that, let's see what this is. You said you have courses. I have a couple of really useful comprehensive courses. They're for a specific exam in the UK called the GCSE. I don't know what that is, but I did a little quick Google search, which you can see right here. Let me make this bigger. And here, apparently it's a secondary education exam that I'm assuming that everyone in the UK, if they have to pass secondary education, have to take. I'm assuming, I don't know, guys, but let's just go with that. So if in fact that is the case, your client are probably going to be the parents and less of the students. So I'm curious to find out. I just don't know so much about that industry. Like, is there a huge issue that people aren't passing this exam? And then the question is, where are the parents that online that really care about passing this exam? So in regards to creating content, I hope you're creating content that is answering those specific questions. Passing the exam will probably be one of your first articles if it's not already on your website. How to pass this specific exam, writing a detailed information on that. Now, my Google, of course, is based in Portugal. So when you search this, it might look a little different. But with a Portugal IP address, this is what I come up with. Let me also go to YouTube. And I'm just curious if anyone has created any content based on that. So I typed this in here. And we're seeing opening the test results. Is this like a college entry? Which I knew before. Okay, so there's a good amount of content based on this particular exam. And I want you to also look at something. This one was 2 years ago. And this is, almost 500,000 people looked at it 2 years ago. Let's look at something more recent. This is 7 months ago. And this is 28,000 people have looked into this. 894 in the past 2 days. So apparently this is a big deal. That's 4 years ago. 67,000. Wait. No, I don't know if that's it. Everything you need to know to pass. 184,000 views in the past year. So apparently this exam in the UK is a big deal. So just on the basic level, there's YouTube content clearly about this exam, and it gets really good views. So even if you got an extra 200 to 500 people to know about you based on you creating content specifically on this exam, do it. I mean, far as I know, it doesn't seem to be super competitive in regards to this exam. 128,000 in 1 month, and this is preparing for the exam. Lawrence, tell me you have some content based on this, because it's clear that it's needed. So that's what I got for you on that, Lawrence. I hope that was helpful. Guys, if you have any questions, just go ahead and put that in the question box. Put a Q there. So I know there's questions, but we don't have that many people live with us today. So if you have a question, just go ahead and tell me what your questions are. We're going to go live tomorrow. And tomorrow we're dealing with eliminating self-doubt. Because of the questions that you all have asked me, first of all, thank you for all the questions. I'm probably going to stop going live this Wednesday because I fly to go to the States next week. So I won't be able to come live anymore. But what I am going to end up doing, I'm going to end up doing a 4-week boot camp for those of us who need to knock out some stuff this summer, myself included, so we can have the community of accountability and work together and that type of thing. Now, I'll talk about it tomorrow because I have not, or Monday, because I have not developed the technology or pulled that together to pull this off. So as soon as I do that, you'll hear more about it. But if we have any questions here, let me know. And that's basically what Lawrence's thing was. So let me make sure that it's clear that you all have some action items you can consider when you are attempting to attract clients. Whatever your industry is, create content that people would search for based on your industry. If you've been doing this for a while, you get the same questions over and over again, and you want to create content. Again, I am biased. I'm going to recommend that you do it on YouTube. You don't have to show your face on YouTube. I know some of you have been emailing me and saying, listen, honey, I don't want to show my face on YouTube. I get it. You don't have to. You can, if in the case of Lawrence, he's teaching students how to pass this exam. He can be showing his computer screen the whole time. He never has to show his face. So depending on your industry, you may never have to show your face. But what I want you to understand is that YouTube is the second largest search engine. Google is the first. So if you position yourself on a platform in which you can get search results, obviously that's going to help you attract more clients. And if you plan on doing ads, in the case of what Lawrence has done, I do not recommend anyone do ads and you have not installed any analytical data into the back of your website. Because how are you going to measure your effectiveness? You can't measure effectiveness just by saying, did someone buy or not? Because let's say you had 300 people or 1,000 extra people come to your website, but they didn't convert. That shows there's a bigger issue. But if you don't know that, if you don't know how they came there, if you don't know how long they stayed on the website, if you don't know your bounce rate, if you don't know all of those things, I do not recommend that you spend the money on ads. So folks, even at a basic level, if you want to learn just a little bit about Google Analytics, as I told you guys before, Google has a free certification. You can just go over the content and not have to take the certification, but it will help you better analyze if you pay someone to do this for you, or if you want to do it yourself. It'll get you better educated as to how all this works. Again, it's Google has so many different products. You can just Google it. When you Google it, make sure that the root word is going to say google.com, because there's a bunch of different companies out here that will charge you for the information that Google gives you for free. Okay, so if you're looking at, let's say, Google Analytics, just Google Analytics or training, and it'll show up. And just make sure that the root domain is going to be Google so that you can further understand that. I'm hoping I don't feel like I went too technical for people to not get that. But let me go in these comments. And then if you guys don't have any questions, we are out, Lawrence. If you couldn't make it to the live, I hope you're watching the recording. And I hope this makes sense. If you want to follow up with some email questions for me on this, be sure to just go ahead and reply back to the email and let me know where else you may have some issues on that. Okay. Hey there, Stephanie. Sandra, good morning. Boa tarde in Portugal. Hello from Maryland. Hey, Tracy. Minnesota. Hey, Jay. Okay. All right. Yeah. Let's see. After yesterday's live, I'm editing my website copy to make sure I am clear about what I do and what they need. Yes. I love that. Perfect. I love it. I went down a rabbit hike trying to find Google free courses. You didn't find it? Shoot, let me try to do that now. Google Analytics course. I should put certification. Let me put certification. Okay. Loves data. Let's see. And let me put .com, google.com. If I can't, what I'll do is, look at y'all. Y'all just not looking. It literally is analytics.google. I'm going to put this in the chat. But the website is analytics.google.com/analytics/academy. Let me put this in the comments real quick so you guys can have that. And I will, if I remember, I will also put that link in the description box. So that's just for Google Analytics. But look, guys, remember, I told you Google has a whole suite, everything they do in regards to shopping ads, e-commerce, everything they have the education for, and it's for free. So remember, I said, make sure it has the Google root word. If you're in the comments with me now, you see how it says analytics.google.com. That's the root word, the root domain you're going to need. Anything else is probably going to be somebody trying to charge you for something that Google is going to. But guys, yeah, just Google whatever you're interested in. Online ads. If you're interested in e-commerce ads, Google it, and that's what's going to show up. I think that's it, y'all. This was a short one. So I have questions tomorrow. We are talking to, I forgot my love's name, but she was just talking about self-doubt and procrastination and that type of thing. And I know we all have those issues. I have those issues often. So we're going to spend some time on that. And particularly what has been a common theme from the emails that I've been getting is that people have a lot of ideas and they have a lot of things they can focus on, but they're having a problem just focusing on one thing. And so they have to do a bunch of things and don't end up having an end result. And I get it. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow. We're going to be here an hour early. We're going to do 3 o'clock my time, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard. So if you have any questions, do not forget to download the Digital Nomad Toolkit in the description box. You'll get an email. Just reply back to me and I will answer your questions. I am only going live till Wednesday because I have to get ready to fly out and see family. But I am going to create some type of boot camp for about 4 weeks for those individuals who want to work with me in a group setting. It's going to be a group of us, and we're just going to knock out certain aspects of business, and hopefully it'll help me do my goal that I have for the summer. So we'll talk about that whenever I put a tech together. Wait, do we have some questions? I do not. Let's see. I was looking for a Google Suite workspace. I was looking for G Suite workspace, but didn't find that. Are you telling me you Googled G Suite and you didn't see it? Chat in the box. Are you telling me that's what you're saying? Because I don't feel like I believe that. But are you telling me you Googled G Suite? Let me Google G Suite right now. I know it's going to come up. See, I'm not. I'm messing with y'all. Okay, Eric, what do we have? I cannot develop and implement a marketing plan for myself. What is the average amount I should expect to spend on these services? Hold on, let me see. I cannot develop and implement a marketing plan for myself. What is the average amount? Yeah, that's gonna depend. Everybody's prices are different. I personally, I work with larger companies, so I can charge more. But let me think about that answer. If I was just starting, what would I say? Let me think about that, because it could be, if you can put in the chat, how many clients are you trying to attract? Like if you're in the service industry, there comes a point where you can't handle, let's say 100 clients. Maybe you can only handle 20 a month or that type of thing. Or let a type how many clients you're looking for, because it could be that you just might need some consulting and then you implement it yourself. If you implement it yourself, it's a lot cheaper than you having someone create the message for you, do all this stuff and create the content. If someone's creating content for you, it's going to be pricey. Your content is driving me out of retirement. I don't know if that's good. Oh, you said thanks for great information. I was like, I don't know if that's good or bad. Good. I'm happy to hear that, Eric. Thank you. Looking forward to tomorrow. Thank you, Sandra. I can't wait to see you. And Sandra, I miss your face. Like I'm on the 4-week boot camp, I'm gonna make sure that we have cameras on so everyone can get to know each other, because I always feel like I'm talking to myself when I can't see y'all face. What are your thoughts on teaching English online? Okay, good question. It's cool. If you want to do it, understand not all companies are created equally. If you're going to teach online, some of them are just absolute trash. I don't know specifically because I've never done that, but just for some of the people that I've met, living abroad or traveling, some of them are really vicious. So I would just say, just vet the company well. And if you like teaching, perfect. And then I think it depends on the age demographic of who you're teaching. There are a lot of companies that are teaching like young kids English, and I guess that could work. From what I've been hearing, some of those companies are just really interesting. In anything you do, I am going to recommend that you brand your individual self. So let's say if you want to teach English teaching English online. Even if you decide to work for a corporation, I am going to recommend that you create your own website for you teaching English, because as you get better and learn throughout the process, you want to build your individual brand. And these are even for my folks who are working for corporate America. There's going to come a point where either corporate America can lay you off or they can replace you with someone who's cheaper. That's just kind of that's just what corporate America does. But if you took the time to build your individual brand, then you can easily transition to something like consulting in the same industry that you were doing. But you can't do that if you never build your individual brand. So again, for those of you who have the professional services, I'm going to recommend that you start looking at the trade publications that are associated with your industry. And you want to develop your name, get published based on those articles so that you have your own website. And then that's bringing people to your website. That's helping with your link backlinks. In addition to your credibility. So if someone wants to consult with you and they Google you, then they're going to see, oh, she was published in whatever trade publication. You know what I mean? Then they can choose you versus someone else, or you can consult. So even if you want to teach online English, I am going to recommend, if you want to do this like for real, like that this is what you want to do, you can teach it to adults. Adults will you could charge much more teaching English to adults than children. But if you were just starting out, you can look into it. But I would say, please check the reviews of the companies, because I've heard some horror stories of companies that have you working ridiculous hours. They cut your hours if you're not rated well and all that other stuff. So just be careful there. The course of the G Suite certification. Okay, now I get it. Girl, I was about to come. Okay. All right. Yes. So the G Suite certification, I'm not sure if they have it or not. But if I know they have a certification and everything. The G Suite thing is still a relatively new product for Google, but there's so many aspects of G Suite. So you can get certified in the various aspects, or get, because I think G Suite includes like Google Calendar, it includes the backend, just some stuff. I can't remember what all G Suite includes. But what I'm saying is do the training on those individual services and be excellent in those. And then you can come to the clients and say, listen, I have this expertise in G Suite and I can make your company run more organized, or do that. Or however you're saying G Suite would benefit that business. Just get educated on the individual components of G Suite. Because basically it's just a big old collaboration of many of their online tools that they have been giving individuals for free for decades. Now they've consolidated it into a platform for businesses. So get fully educated on every aspect of that. And then you can market that to businesses to show them how to be more efficient in whatever particular industry that they're going to be in. So instead of, for all my people, please do not say, I help small businesses. It is going to be hard for you to convert and get clients. Because a veterinarian can be a small business, a baker can be a small business, a plumber can be a small business, and all of them are going to have completely different problems. So when you're marketing, particularly online, that client needs to know, I need to work with this specific person because they understand plumbers or they understand veterinarians, because every business is going to have their own different issues. So let's say you wanted to show plumbing companies how to use G Suite better so that they can streamline their customers from online to executing that they'll show up in their home without any holes in it, and how they can automate the whole process with G Suite. So once they come on the website, they schedule it, that goes to Google Calendar. Google Calendar does what, you know what I mean? Like, show people the benefit of working with you so that, and the tools that you're using. So this is also something you can do, guys. Like we talked about Salesforce earlier this week. Sometimes it's just a matter of learning one software and learning it to the best of your ability. Okay, so even in the email software that I use for my larger clients, I'm not going to say I know that software inside and out, because I don't, but I know the software. I know how to make that software fix my clients' needs. So that is what you're going to demonstrate with them. And then the great thing about that is most software has an affiliate program. So when it comes to software, I'm never going to recommend a software to my client that I don't use or don't like. So because you've been using it, because you trust the brand, now you can get a additional monthly, it depends on the software, income based on that. So if you've had, let's say, an extra 70 clients this year, that can be potentially an extra $2,000 just off of software. It wasn't software you created. This was software that you referred to people, and you were able to get, an extra $2,000 that you weren't even paying attention to. Does that make sense? So hopefully, yeah. Okay, so we have some more questions. Let's see. I will email you with the questions written better. Got it. I don't know what 2025 means. Oh, right. Sorry, that was the question. You need an extra. You could do that yourself. You could do that yourself, honey. I'm just gonna recommend you create the content. Have you created the content? You're so funny, Stephanie. You're hilarious. Teaching. Okay, so teaching ESL just seemed like a nice stepping stone until you figure out what actually work and help. Okay, yeah. No, there are plenty of people who just want to move abroad and they use teaching as the stepping stone. So that's absolutely correct. There's a bunch of different programs that you can look into that will allow you to do that. So I agree. Now, if that's all you want to do is use it as a stepping stone, cool. Then I wouldn't recommend go ahead and building a whole personal brand on that. But if you work in the healthcare field, I don't know what you do as a healthcare provider, but there is a lot of information that needs to be shared that people have questions about, and you can make some great content. Here's the homework that I have for you and everyone in the healthcare field. Go on YouTube and search something that's healthcare related. And you're going to see a substantial amount of doctors and nurses that are on YouTube giving information. So they are doing two things, which I want y'all to do. You're doing two things. You're building your personal brand. So anytime there's any speaking event that's related to continuing education, who do you think they're going to pick? The person who already has their brand or the person that no one knows? They'll pick that person. So it helps you build your personal brand. It brings in additional clients to your particular practice because now they saw you educate them on whatever format you use. And now they want to find you because they trust you. And so people will fly. I've flown all the way to California to get something. Random fact. I had to get some type of surgery. It's thyroid surgery on my, that's too much information. But anyway, I had thyroids on my uterus and I had to get those removed. And I flew all the way to California. I did that because the doctor had publicized everything and gave me full education as to how the process was going to be, how I was going to heal, if it would affect me having children. I don't want kids, but if it would. So I say all that to say, if you were in the health industry, there are so many avenues you could take with that to go ahead and just make your own money. So I would say recommend your personal brand off of the healthcare field, unless you want to get out of the healthcare field altogether and you just don't want to be bothered with it. So I get it. Yes, create your brand. Okay, good. Tracy, glad that was helpful. Sure thing, honey. Good vibes. Okay, wait, what happened there? Okay, makes sense about your answer. Okay, yes, G Suite. Yes, do that. Okay, from Geneva. Hello, Paulo. How do you organize and get things? Okay, let's talk about that. Okay. How do you organize to get things done on building your own company while still working a full-time job? We're going to talk about that tomorrow. And I do feel like accountability. Like I said, guys, if you're just joining us, I'm going to do a 4-week boot camp. I can't talk about it now because I ain't put the software together to pull it off. And in an event that I don't want y'all to come for me. But some of it is accountability. The other part is, I think from the emails you guys are giving me, that people just don't understand what the first steps are based on their particular business, on what they should be doing. I'm always going to recommend creating content. And I've gotten your emails and some like, okay, I'll create the content, but I'm still kind of lost as to where. So we're going to end up, so in the boot camp, in a perfect world, this is what I would like. Everyone shares what their business is so I can have a better idea. And then I can give you a roadmap. And then at the end of the 4 weeks, you have to have something. So if you're saying you want to have your welcome sequence for your email marketing done, cool. If you're saying you want to create at least 5 forms of content, cool. Whatever it is, at the beginning, including myself, we're going to put what the summer goal is, and we got to hold each other responsible for doing it. So that's just for that. But for you specifically, I need more information as to where you're stuck, because there's 24 hours in a day, right? You sleep for 8 hours. If you divide them by 3, you sleep for 8 hours. You're going to work for 8 hours. You got another 8 hours that you could do something. Now, I know the commutes are nasty, particularly if you live on the East Coast, from your job to your home, but maybe you're still working at home. So you got to say, I'm going to give an hour for me. You know, if you have kids or a spouse or whatever, I get that there's a whole bunch of things that are going after your time. But if you're on social media, or if you watch TV at all, if you ever turn on a TV, then you have enough time to work on your personal business and building your own business. I don't have a TV in this house. I haven't had a TV in 2 decades. So if you watch TV or Netflix or social media or Housewives or whatever, you got time to build your own personal business. So, but I need a little bit more information on how I can give you like a full plan on that. Okay. Okay, let's see. I would like to try and take advantage of working remotely if possible. The case of working from home is better reality. I agree. I do my trades and work that way. Me too. Did that. Okay, you really love what you're trying to do if you're going to work. Let's see, what's that say? You got to really love what you're trying to do if you're going to work a full-time job at the same time. Yeah, I mean, the truth of the reality, not everyone can just jump. And I get that. I get that you still have responsibilities and bills you have to pay. I mean, guys, that's one of the reasons why I moved to Portugal. I wanted to cut down my expenses dramatically. And I wanted to build my personal brand in opposed to building all of my clients' brands. So I knew better. I knew I should have been doing this for myself decades ago. I just didn't. And I wasn't a billable hour. So I had a hard time rationalizing why I needed to create it myself. And so again, many of you know I'm from DC. DC is not the cheapest city in the United States. So you still have to continue to work in order to pay your bills. So then it's just, and by the time you're done working, you're exhausted. You can't even think about yourself. So what I had to do personally for me was just like, look, I got to cut my life. And then the life work balance in the States is just hard. I don't care where you live. It's a challenge. So I was like, I gotta go. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I rolled out of the US. I think, yes, TV will suck the life out of a business. That is true. I think it is accountability. I know what to focus on. Okay. So I think it's accountability and knowing what to focus on for first steps and impact. Okay. I get it. Well, hopefully you can join the 4-week bootcamp whenever I bring that out. And if not, send an email. Hopefully you've downloaded the digital Nomad toolkit and tell me, just remind me of who you are. Because sometimes, guys, I have a hard time knowing who you are in YouTube world and who you are when you email me, because your names are different. So if you want to tell me specifically what your industry is, and when I say specifically, saying that like I'm in tech or I'm in web development is not specific enough for me, because I understand there's a bunch of different jobs that could be in that industry. Does that make sense? I feel like I'm rambling a lot today. Okay, all right. So I think if we don't have any more questions, exactly, I want to be able to buy a house at some point in my, okay. Nothing is cheap, right? That is accurate. I know. Grace. Okay, love. Grace, send me your, Grace, I don't think I ever knew your industry. Did I? I don't think I ever knew your industry. Kathy. Yes, Kathy out here. What's up, Kathy? Oh, goodness. That is hilarious. Okay. I will contact you about the bootcamp via email too, and how I learned about today's session. That's how you learned about today's session. Wait, what? Will you contact us about the bootcamp? Yes. Okay, so I will. I'm so behind, y'all. I didn't work all week. I'm out here in the city not paying attention, and so I'm behind. But I'm committed to being in this house this weekend, and I'm going to work. So hopefully I will have something tonight, if not tomorrow. I can promise you before Monday. Okay? That is what I'm gonna do. But I'm gonna be here tomorrow. So if you guys have any questions, if you're looking at the recording and you couldn't join live and you have questions for me in your business, come join me tomorrow. I will be here. I think I will be here. You guys gave me a lot of questions. So I think I have content all the way up until when, well, I got more than Wednesday. But I'm gonna have to stop coming live come Wednesday, guys, because I have to go to the States and see my family. Okay. So yes, Tracy, I will send that in an email. How is the taxes as a digital nomad living in Portugal but doing business in the US? What am I reading? Okay, guys, if you have met me before, you know I don't like talking about taxes. The same way I would not like talking about law or insurance because I am not a tax professional. I hire people to take care of that for me. So Portugal, just a short answer, but understand your situation can be completely different. I am incorporated as a business in the United States. My clients come from the United States. Okay. So it's not that much different than if I stayed in the United States and was getting taxed based on the corporate entity in which I am and the way that I set up my business. It can be completely different from you, but depending on, because you're going to talk to a tax professional, you will need a tax professional in both whatever country you're from and the country in which you're residing, because some countries they won't tax you if the US has already taxed you. Now, in some cases, that is the case with me, but in other cases, it is not. So I get taxed in both countries, depending on what's going down. So I cannot answer your question in a blanket statement because taxes are never a blanket statement, the same way they're not a blanket statement in the United States. So what I will recommend is if you are going to move out of the country, you need to get a tax professional in both countries. I am still a U.S. citizen. I still have a domicile in the U.S. And so my taxes are based on what me and my accountant worked out that's best for me. What is going to be best for you? You're going to have to talk to your people. So sorry, guys, if I can't give enough information on that, but that is what it is. Okay. What about working multiple remote gigs at the same time? What about it, hon? Can you do it? Of course, if you can. Like, if you can physically do it, sure. Why not? All right. Health and wellness. Okay, yeah. Go ahead. Yeah, email me, Grace, so we can damn. I said out loud we're going to do this boot camp. I'm going to get it together, y'all. I am. She said, no pressure. Thank you, Serena. Okay. Thank you, Serena. I'm going to get it together. Hey, Sam, replace my TV with your fantastic Portuguese. You're so funny. As I plan to move to Portugal, I'll be looking to find clients who need marketing services. Perfect. What kind of marketing service? Any thoughts on finding marketing clients? Be specific with me and tell me what kind of clients you are going to work with, because as we stated before, that's going to matter. Are you working with particular industry? Because the way you market to a doctor is not going to be the way you market to a lawyer. Y'all get what I'm saying when I say that, right? Like, you get that those, you got to be super specific when we're going online, because yeah, that makes sense. All right, tell me your industry real quick. If you can give that to me, if you could type that down within the next 2 minutes, then I'll try to give you some insight on that. But all right, guys. Sorry, it was all over the place today. I'm feeling all over the place today. I had a lot. I'm all over the place. Hopefully this is helpful. Taking her boot camp before. You taken my boot camp before? I've had that one. Oh, you mean the Moving Abroad Summit, Sandra? Because I've never done a boot camp because I don't really know how this works. We're only going to do it for 4 weeks. So have whatever you want to complete this summer together. And of course, I'm going to do some training, but I really want to create a community where we could see each other's face again. Yes, the summit. The summit was dope. I know everybody's talking about doing that again. That was so much work. I don't know how that's going to work, but we'll see. Guys, it's been real. Mercury is in retrograde. What does that mean? Does that mean I'm going to be productive, or does that mean that's why I'm struggling? The weather's been nice here. That's kind of why I can't get my life together. All right, y'all. Y'all learning. I'm rambling. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Tomorrow we're talking about eliminating self-doubt. So for those of you who get distracted by the shiny object, we're going to talk about it tomorrow. All right, folks. It was a pleasure. I'll see you tomorrow.